Is my voice audible? Is my voice audible? Please let me know in the chat box how you people are doing today. Soni Kumar, Mohammed Tariq, Sandeep, Prabhavati, Mohammed Irshad, how are you people doing? Okay. Now we were doing about the different views of different theories associated with conflict, like last time itself, right? So what all views we have done last time? The traditional view we have covered, right? The behavior view we have covered, right? The interactionist view we have also covered, right? Now you have to solve these fill in the blanks questions, okay? You have already done about these views. We have already covered this. So just do these true and false questions. I guess there are 8 questions in total, right? In relation to different views towards conflict, different theories associated with conflict. So just solve this. 2 options are given. You have to choose one out of 2 mentioned there. Fine. Either it has to be true or either it will be false. Fine, everyone. Good evening, Kelvin. So you have to tick, make it, read it properly and let me know if it is true or false. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let it be. Let it be. We'll do some other exercise. Let's not do this. If it is visible, then no point. Now, the impact of conflict. What is the impact of conflict? If you are having a conflict among your team members, if it is there, okay? If you are having a conflict with the management or you are having it with your team members, what is the impact of that? From the discussions on different views on conflict, what inference do you draw? Inference could be that conflict could have both positive and negative impact on individuals, right? No, it's not a waste of time, Prabhavati. It's like it can have both positive and negative effects. Every theory, none of the theory is, behave. When it comes to the traditional theory, it is only saying that it is a negative thing. But it has got, if you really want the creativity to prosper in an organization, then some kind of conflict has to be there. Yeah. Some extent, up to some extent, it has to be there, but it should be resolved initially. Fine, everyone? Yeah. For example, as a result of intergroup conflict, certain changes occur within groups and between groups. Some changes have positive effects, others have negative effects. Let us explore this issue with Edgar's team, 1980, who has compiled a list of changes on the basis of research findings. As a result of intergroup conflict, changes that may occur within the group are as follows. Group cohesiveness increases, right? The group becomes more closely knit, its members show greater loyalty, right? If it is an intergroup conflict. The group becomes task-oriented. Group climate changes from informal to task-oriented in order to deal with the external threat. If there is a threat from outside, some other groups are trying to attack them, or they are trying to overpower them, or they are trying to pull them down. In that case, cohesiveness will increase because they don't want to lose to the outsider, right? They'll see other group as an outsider, right? And they'll become more task oriented so that they are not being pulled down by the other group. They don't win over them, right? Leadership becomes more directive. As the group becomes more task oriented, the leader becomes more authoritarian, because he is seeing that the other group is a threat to him. So he adapts this view of being authoritarian so that he can win. Okay. Organizational structure becomes more rigid. Authority and responsibility relationship among and between members become more clearly defined. Group unity is stressed, because if group unity is not there, obviously they are going to lose to an outsider, other group, right? Prolonged group conflicts cause the following changes in relationship between groups. So is it clear? If there is an intergroup conflict, what all changes occur in a group? Is it clear, everyone? Asiya, Mohammed Rashad, Sandeep, Mohammed Tariq, Tony Kumar, Prabhavati, Kelvin, Mohammed Nihal, and Maria. Okay. Prolonged group conflicts cause the following changes in relationship between groups. Suppose as of now we were reading about the changes that takes place in a group if there is a intergroup conflict, if there is a threat from another group. But how the relationship between the two groups is being affected if there is a conflict between the two. This is what we are going to do now. Okay. Group becomes antagonistic towards each other. Each group sees the other as an enemy who interferes with its goal-oriented behavior. So they will start treating the other group as an enemy, Fine? Is it clear? Now, perceptions are distorted. Each group develops positive perceptions about its own group and negative perceptions towards the other group. So what these people are going to do? They are going to get positive attitude towards their team members and they will treat the other group negatively. Fine? Okay. Communication ceases to exist. Sheikh Mohammed, very good evening. When in conflict, members of one group avoid interaction with the members of other group. If they are forced to interact, they tend to show hostility and aggression towards each other, right? This is being seen. This is our human nature. Groups apply a double standard. Each group clearly sees all the vicious acts of the other party while remaining blind to the same act performed by their own group. So they start finding loopholes in other groups' people. Okay, but if the member of the same group is doing something irrelevant, they'll just turn blind to it, right? Right, everyone? Is it clear? Yes or no? From the above two lists of changes within and between groups in conflict, you can spot a number of negative effects. What about some potential benefits of intergroup conflict? Here is such a list. Conflict clarifies the real issue. When the people of groups express their concern and differences, it helps sharpen the real issue involved in a problem. So see, if they are in a fight, if they are in a conflict, obviously they'll try to resolve it. Someone will try to resolve it. Okay? Fine, Prabhavati. See, if two groups are in a conflict, someone will try to resolve it because otherwise, neither group A can prosper well, neither they can complete their task. They will, spend all their positive energy in fighting with each other, finding loopholes in each other. So it won't be beneficial for the organization. In that case, the real issue is bring into limelight. They bring it into limelight, and this helps in solving the problem. Without conflict, many organizational problems go unnoticed and remain unsolved. So see, sometimes, because of conflict, the problem comes to limelight, which was otherwise hidden. Fine? Is it clear, everyone? Okay. Is my pace okay? Is my pace okay, Prabhavati? Alright. Now, thank you. Conflict increases innovation. Conflict generates a greater diversity of ideas and viewpoints. Such a diversity can stimulate innovation in organizational practices. See, if two groups are in conflict, they will try to outshine the other by performing better than what they were doing earlier. They will try to give the better performance in order to outshine the other group, right? So it increases innovation. Intergroup conflict solidifies the group, right? When members of a group are faced with an external enemy, they tend to work together more closely to deal with it. We might be having, see, this happens in family too. We might not like a particular member of the family. We might be having a lot of rivalry with our own brothers and sisters. But if someone outside us is going to attack us, all of us come together as one family. So similar is applicable to a group as well. Okay, it solidifies the group, intergroup conflict. Conflict serves as catharsis. Conflict can provide an outlet through which organizational members can ventilate their feelings without damaging. So see, it's not like human nature. What is human nature? There is a positivity in them. See, we have positive instincts as well as negative instincts in ourselves, right? So negative instincts pop up sometimes, every now and then. So if we are having a conflict, we can just get rid of it. If we are going to retain it, it is going to burn ourselves and it won't be useful for the organization as well, right? So you should ventilate your feelings. You should keep yourself light, right? So it serves as a catharsis for the same. Fine, everyone. Clear? Any questions so far? Any doubts? Anyone out there? Alright. Conflict resolution solidifies intergroup relationship. Once group conflict is successfully resolved, it can solidify the relationship. See, if A and B are having some kind of conflict and if it is being resolved, they'll be friends again. It will bring both the groups together. Looking into some of the effects of conflict, you can take a balanced view to conclude that conflict is inherently neither good nor bad, right? But simply has the potential to improve or impair an organization. See, if it is there and if it is being resolved in minute, initial stages, then it will be good. But otherwise, it is going to plague the company's performance. So it's neither good nor bad. How you deal with it, it makes it good or bad. Conflicts that result in increased organization performance and help an organization to attain its goals may be termed as functional. On the other hand, conflict that hinders organizational growth and prevents it from achieving its goals can be termed as dysfunctional. Is it clear what is the difference between functional conflict and dysfunctional conflict? Very good evening, Senthil. Is it clear? What is a functional conflict? What is a dysfunctional conflict? So what is a functional conflict? Just write down the definition of functional and dysfunctional conflict in the chat box, please. Everyone out there. Write down the definition of functional and non-functional conflict in the chat box itself. Everyone needs to write that down as you understand it. It's up to you. Yeah, please write it down. Okay, fine. I'm not getting your question, Bhavati. You have to just differentiate between functional and dysfunctional conflict. That's it. Okay, fine. Thus, conflict in certain forms can be functional or dysfunctional depending upon its nature, intensity, duration, and the manner it is being handled. You may ask, how do I know whether the conflict is functional or dysfunctional? On what criteria should I base my judgment about the value of conflict? It is true that demarcation between functional and dysfunctional conflict is neither clear nor precise. No particular level of conflict can be adopted as acceptable or by the impact it has on group unit performance rather than a single individual criteria for you to base your judgment upon it. So how conflict is affecting the group, how it is affecting the unit performance, you should consider that thing and then you should term it as functional or dysfunctional conflict. Since a group exists to achieve certain predetermined goals, the functionality of a conflict can be measured by the impact it has on the group unit performance rather than on a single individual. So see, you just cannot determine whether the conflict is functional or dysfunctional on the basis of what kind of impact it is having on one individual, right? Rather, you should decide, you can only lay it down in an appropriate category, whether it's functional or dysfunctional, if you measure how it is affecting the group, okay, or unit performance. Figure 2 shows the relationship between organizational conflict and group or unit performance. Can you see this? Yeah. So the figure shows that there is an optimum highly functional level of conflict at which the unit performance is at maximum. This can happen because at that level of conflict, the group or the unit's internal environment is characterized by self-criticism and innovativeness. When the conflict level is too low, it is dysfunctional. Okay. As the unit performance is low due to apathy, stagnation, lack of new ideas, okay, and non-responsive of the unit members to the demands of change. In such a situation, a manager may have to resort to stimulating conflict, okay. Stimulating conflict actually increases your performance level to make unit more viable. On the other hand, when the conflict level, it should neither be too low nor be too high, it should be optimum, that is stimulating, okay. It is again dysfunctional as the survival of the group or unit is threatened owing to diversion of energies away from performance and goal attainment activities of the members. Chaos and disruption prevail. Naturally, the most important managerial task becomes how to resolve the conflict. Fine. Now, let's do this activity. Recapitulate your experience of an inter-group conflict in your work situation. Refer to the changes within and between the group listed in this section. Check whether such changes took place in your experience or not. What additional changes did you notice? So there was an inter-group conflict, okay? And you have to answer these questions. Fine, everyone? Referring to your group as A and the other group as B, narrate the entire proceedings of the event from eyes of an outsider in the form of a case. So just write it down. Just answer this. Yeah. Okay. No, you have to narrate the whole case, Maria. Just read the question properly and narrate it properly. See, intergroup conflict means the conflict between the two groups. Is everyone writing that down? Seher, Sheikh, Maria, Mohammed Nihal, Kelvin, Prabhavati, Mohammed Tariq, Mohammed Irshad, Sandeep, Asya. Please write it down properly. Is everyone writing that down or not? Please let me know. You have 3 more minutes to finish this. Please finish it in 3 minutes. See, because of that conflict, what all changes took place in your group? What all changes were, and between how relationship between the groups were affected in that case. Okay, so how changes took place in your group and how relationship between the two groups has been changed at that time when there was a conflict. And what all changes you have noticed in both the groups and in between the group members and in between and how they used to behave towards other group people. Okay. Is everyone done with it? Okay, okay, fine. Let's proceed ahead. Only Prabha has written the answer. How about the other people? Asya, can you show me your answer? Mohammed Irshad, Sandeep, Mohammed Tariq, Kelvin, Mohammed Nihal, Maria, Sheikh Mohammed, Seher Sakoor, and Senthil Kumar. Please show me your answer. Okay, fine, Maria, fine. Now, this activity, okay. This also we are now going to do. Now, sources of conflict. Are you able to see the board properly? Everyone out there? Are you able to see the board properly? Please let me know. And tomorrow we'll be doing about emails, memos. Okay. This is what I'm going to cover tomorrow, as requested by Prabhavati long back. Okay, fine. Are you able to see the board properly? Okay. Now, sources of conflict. In the earlier sections, you have seen that it will be naive to think that conflict in an organization takes place simply due to lack of understanding between people. But a large number of potential sources of conflict, see, it's not because if there is no understanding in between the people, conflict is going to pop up. It's not like this, okay? There could be many, many reasons for conflicts to pop up in an organization as antecedent conditions and realistic basis for some conflicts. In this section, we shall quickly review some such sources. Competition for limited resources. This could be a reason behind the conflict. Okay. Any group exists for the purpose of attaining some goal with the help of available resources, right? So every group is being allotted some kind of task, some kind of goal, some kind of project, and they get resources for this thing. These resources may be tangible, okay, like men, materials, and money, or intangible, like power, status, or the manager's time. What is tangible and intangible? What does that mean? Tangible and intangible. Anyone? Yes, please. Okay, correct. Very correct. Now, no organization is capable of providing all the resources demanded by various units. See, they might have provided you certain resources, certain amount of resources, but you might be needing more, right, to complete that project as you see it. So it's not like they're going to provide you with that. Resources are limited and different groups have to compete for these scarce resources, and many conflicts arise. So if resources are limited and many people are, many people want that, obviously there'll be a struggle for this and there'll be a survival of the fittest, right? Right, everyone? Okay. Now, diversity of goals. Group in organization have different functions to perform, and as such, they develop their own norms and goals. See, every group will be given a particular project, and they'll, in order to complete that, they're going to develop their own norms, right? Theoretically, the achievement of these goals should achieve overall organizational goals, but often in real life, the reverse is true. Goals of one group are incompatible to the goals of another group, right? Take, for example, a company which manufactures electrical fans that has a seasonal demand. Three department, marketing, production, and finance are involved. Since the demand for the product is seasonal, the marketing manager would like to have sufficient stock during the season. The production department has to gear up its capacity during the season, but because of a tight labor market, finds it difficult to hire labor temporarily and resorts to employ people on permanent basis. This creates another problem. The finance manager says, as the storage costs are high, it is expensive to keep stock build up in the slack season, and maintaining the production line during slack season imposes. See, all of them are working. All the departments work for the betterment of the organ. All of them, have one purpose. All have to achieve one organizational goal, but their individual task is different, right? So for all of them, organizational goal is same, but the task they are performing is different as allotted to them, right? So that could be the reason behind, struggle, conflict, diversity of goals. Fine. And each and every group's assistance is needed for the other group as well, to the other group as well, to complete their task on time. Because if the finance people, they are not giving them marketing people that like the solve things, okay, the database of the solve things, obviously marketing people won't be able to do well, right? And suppose if the production people, they are not producing anything, what will the marketing and finance department going to do? They won't be able to meet out with their tasks as well, goals as well. So all of them work for the same organization. They have same organizational goal, but because of diversity of goals, and all of them are interrelated too, right? Because of the diversity of the goals, a conflict may pop up, right? This example shows that each department develops its own goal. Obviously, they have different tasks, they have different goals, but the organizational goal is one, but they don't understand it, which may conflict with another department goals, and one department may try to achieve its goals at the expense of another, which is not good for the organization, neither for the employees nor for the organization, because all of them it has to be a joint collaboration with all the departments, in between all the departments, which can help the organization in achieving something, right? Every department has their own goals, right, in an organization. And if all the departments, they are having rivalry with each other, obviously they won't provide the data to the other groups, right, which they might need to which they might need to fulfill their goal. And if any of the department is failing, obviously what is going to happen? The whole project is going to fail, right? Right, everyone? So it's like, see, in human body, there is a polymerization and division of labor, right? So similar is applicable in organizations too. There is a polymorphism and division of labor, but all of them have one organizational goal. And if they can realize that, there won't be any conflict ever. But yeah, stimulant conflict has to be there, right? Coordination is very important, correct? Task interdependence. This is what I was telling you. The task interdependence is there. If one is not able to do their work properly, the other will also lag behind in achieving their own goals. Group in an organization do not function independent of another. There might be many conflicts, but still they just cannot function, independent of one another. This is not at all possible. Polymorphism and division of labor again. They have to interact with one another in order to accomplish their task. The sales department will have nothing to sell unless the production people produce goods, and goods can not be produced unless the financial department comes up with the money to buy raw materials. So all are interconnected. The smooth interaction between various groups is essential for the efficient functioning of the organization. Three types of interdependence can cause intergroup conflict: pooled, sequential, and reciprocal. Pooled interdependence exists when two work groups may not directly interact with each other but are affected by each other's action. For example, when one independent product group performs poorly, all the other groups may suffer financially, right? This can happen when rewards are contingent upon collective performance. Sequential, pooled interdependence, I'll tell you. I'll just explain it to you in a better manner. Okay, so I'm just putting it here on the board itself. Please pay heed to it. To give you a better understanding of what pooled interdependence is, let's learn about it. Okay. So I have got one PPT for this. Should I share that with you? Okay. All right. All right. So I'm just going to put it on the board. Okay. See, Pool interdependence is perhaps the loosest form of the three. In this type of interdependence, each organizational department or business unit performs completely separate functions. While departments may not directly interact and do not directly depend on each other in the pool interdependence model, each does contribute individual pieces to the same overall puzzle. This creates an almost blind, indirect dependence on the performance of others, whereas in group, failure can lead to the failure of the overall process. For example, this is going to take time. Just wait for a while. Can you see the PPT now? Okay. So let's go to the 19th page of this. And for sure it's taking a long time. This we need not to do. We have already covered these stuff. Okay, so let me open the 19th one directly. Just give me a moment, please. Yeah. Can you see it? Okay. So now let's learn about pool interdependence, task interdependence. See, each member of a group makes separate and independent contributions to group performance. Fine. Sequential task interdependence requires specific behaviors to be performed by the group members in a predetermined order. Okay, and reciprocal task interdependence means the activities of all work group members are fully dependent on one another so that each member performance influences the performance of every other member. Okay, so here they have to perform in a sequence, predetermined sequence. Here, if one is not working properly, other will, other is also going to be, other task is also going to be affected. And in pool one, each member of a group makes separate and independent contribution to group performance. Clear, everyone? Okay, pool interdependence exists when two groups may not directly interact with each other but are affected by each other's actions. Okay. When one independent product group performs poorly, the other may suffer financially. This may occur when rewards are contingent upon collective performance. So sometimes, they have nothing to do with each other. Okay, they are working independent of each other. But if one is not performing good, the other will be also punished for the same. That means, because financial rewards are going to suffer, because it is being given upon collective performance. Fine. Is it clear? Sequential interdependence occurs when one group performance depends on another group prior performance. Okay. In a construction project, for example, the excavating team must prepare the foundation before the masons can work on the building structure, right? So they need the other people's previous prior performance so that they can start their work. They might have laid down the blueprints and then they can work on that. Since the masons depend on the excavators, conflict between the groups can occur when the excavators' work is delayed. Reciprocal interdependence occurs when two or groups are mutually independent in accomplishing their task. For example, in developing and marketing a new product, three major departments, marketing, production, and research, depend on each other to perform their tasks, right? Information processed by one department is needed by another department. For example, the research department needs market information from the marketing department, and marketing needs research to provide customer services. Fine. When one group is unable to meet the expectations of another group, intergroup conflicts usually result. Is this clear to everyone? Is this clear to everyone? Any questions? Okay. Differences in values and perception. A lot of conflict is generated within an organization because various groups within the organization hold conflicting values and perceive situation in a narrow individualistic manner. An example that comes readily to the mind is that of the management-labor conflict. Labor feels that management is exploiting it, right? This is what labor people say. Because in spite of making a profit, management does nothing for the economic welfare of the labor. This is what many companies do, right? They suppress the laborers. And even if they are doing justice to the laborers, they'll feel that they are being suppressed, right? Labor feels that okay. On the other hand, management feels that profit should go to cash reserves so as to make the company an attractive proposition for investors. Okay. Another example is the conflict between engineering and manufacturing. Engineering lays stress on technological sophistication and precision and is accused by manufacturing or designing products that will last for 50 years but the customers cannot afford. Similarly, engineering accuses manufacturing of making products of such limited durability that the company reputation suffers. Fine. So there could be differences in values and perception. Because of that, this may pop up. Organizational ambiguities. As implied, conflict may arise when two organizational units compete over new responsibilities. Right? Intergroup conflicts stemming from disagreement about who has the responsibility for ongoing tasks in an even more frequent problem. Right? So sometimes, they might not be aware of the roles they need to perform, and they may start fighting that I will perform it and I will perform it. Newcomers to organizations are often struck by ambiguity that exists about job responsibilities, right? Sometimes you might not be sure what you have to do, and you might, and other people, or and you go to some department to work there. You take some responsibility on their own, and somehow after some time another guy comes and he says I will also, but I have been allotted this task. Okay. So you people will start fighting among each other, right? Because of ambiguity, because you are not sure. Neither he is sure, nor you are sure. So ambiguity of job responsibilities there. Few organizations make extensive use of job descriptions or periodically update the job descriptions that do exist. Further, it is rare that manager or employee consult his own job description. Managerial and staff jobs by their very nature are difficult to structure tightly around the job description. So because of ambiguity, because of if you are not sometimes we don't have knowledge about something and we may fight with someone over that. This is human nature, right? Right, everyone? Am I correct or not? Only Soni Kumar is responding. How about others? Prabhavati, where are you? So this may happen even in organizations too. Okay. Introduction of change. Change can breed intergroup conflict. Acquisitions and mergers, for example, encourage intergroup conflict, confrontation, and stress. See, no one wants to adapt to, see, if once we start working somewhere, once we are being given certain project, once we are given certain position, we actually develop a convenient zone in that thing, right? We get stable in that, okay? And we don't want to, and if some suddenly, all of a sudden, company is making some changes, groups might fight over that, right? When one organization is merged into another, a power struggle often exists between the acquiring and acquired company, right? So if some company has been purchased by and if some company is going into losses and some other company has purchased it, okay? Like Satyam, it was being purchased by Mahindra Satyam, right? When it was going in losses. You might be remembering that scandal that was being done by Raja. What was the name of that guy? Raju, Ramalinga Raju, right? That was the name, right? As far as I remember. So when he has done the scandal, the company started going into losses and it was being purchased by, they have actually given pink slips to a lot of employees at that time. But yeah, it was being purchased by Mahindra. So there might be a conflict if one company is being overpowered by another company, okay? If they have taken, acquisition of that, the existing employees might fight with the, employees of the new company. There might be a struggle between acquiring and acquired companies. An attempt is usually made to minimize conflict by laying out plans for power sharing before the acquisition or merger is consummated. Frequently, the acquired company is given representation on the board of directors of the acquiring company. Nevertheless, power struggles are difficult to avoid. Fine. Nature of communication. Sometimes, the way something is being communicated to you in an office, okay, it might result in a conflict, right? There is a way of communicating. Sometimes it might not be acceptable to you or a particular group. One of the major fallacies about conflict is that poor communication is the cause of all conflict. Suppose, the communication is poor. There is no communication between the two groups or the, group members. In that case, the whole information won't be, transmitted equally to all the employees, and it may result in a conflict, right? A typical statement is, if we could just communicate with each other, we could eliminate our differences. See, unless and until we know everything about something, okay, obviously conflict will be there, right? It may lead to misunderstandings, right? See, if half information is being given to me, my mind is going to complete it by cooking up its own story. Human nature, right? When sometimes if suppose someone has said that I'm going to call you, and if he or she doesn't call, lot of things enters our mind. We start thinking about that person in a particular manner, that he might be busy there, he might be he might be egoistic, he has changed with time, something of that kind. So our mind starts weaving some kind of story, right? So that could be the reason behind conflict. We get prejudiced, right? We start thinking in our own manner, right? Human nature, right? Such a conclusion is not surprising considering the little most of us have at our disposal communicating with one another. Okay. At the same time, evidences does suggest that problems in the communication channels such as noise, sometimes your boss might be communicating with you and there might be a lot of noise around him. So in that case, he won't be able to, he might be trying his level best to deliver all the information to you, but you might not be able to take it. Okay. Distortion, omission, and sometimes due to overload, if we are overloaded at work, we find it very difficult to absorb completely what is being asked from us, right? It may lead to misunderstanding. The potential for conflict increases when either too little or too much communication takes place. Okay. Apparently, an increase in communication is functional up to a point, whereafter it is possible to over-communicate with a resultant increase in potential for conflict. So if it is too less communication or too much communication, it may result in a conflict. Too much information as well as too little information can lay the foundation for the conflict. Aggressive nature, it's there in our instinct, right? So conflict may pop in because of that too. Fine. Now we are going to continue with this. Okay, tomorrow is Saturday. On Monday, tomorrow we are going to do tomorrow we are going to do a lesson on emails, memos, okay, and also we are going to cover business English. This it is a small thing, so it won't take much time. Once I'll finish that, I'm going to switch over to the business English. We haven't covered that since long, so let's do that tomorrow. Fine. So we won't do that emails and memos for the entire session. We are also going to cover something else. We'll also solve some exercises related to business English. Fine. So please be there and please be on time. Okay. And don't forget to fill the feedback form. Okay. And if you want me to cover something specific in class, you can put that down as well in the chat box. Feedback form. Okay. And just put genuine comments there. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.